Hi guys, how about we start? I'm going to play the music and be with you shortly. So let's start because we also have full moon to cover, and it's a very intense one in Scorpio. So let's go. Good morning, guys. You can see who is here with us. Right, Safi? Are you going to help? Are you going to help? Are you going to help? I don't have my angel cards on me. Okay, guys. This is the plan for today. And I'll be honest with you, I had a really rough night. I'm looking for my chakra cards, which I have no idea where they are. I found them. Okay. And we again had a fire alarm. I just found a few of them. And okay, now angel cards are off because they fell behind the sofa, so that's why I couldn't find them. And I'm a little bit tired. I looks like I have a cold, but nonetheless, this is a really, 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 let me stress this, important full moon. So, what is a full moon? So it is something that comes to completion, right? It is happening every 29 and a half days. It regulates this kind of like water cycles, right? So now moon regulates water. Mark that, put it on the side. And it's in Scorpio, Scorpio being a water sign. I don't know if any of you had sort of like maybe kind of raw experiences over the last few days. As I said, we had fire, and what is the fire tamed with? Water, right? Also, it's ruling emotions, kind of a things. So it could be lots of feelings going on. So this lunation kind of has the power to release, to cleanse, and actually to transform your life. Transform your life. So what does it mean? So let's say you're not going to really pack and leave today, for example, if you want to move somewhere, for example, but maybe decision will be made, or that seed, you know what, there is like a change I need to make, kind of a thing, right? Why? Because Scorpio's ruler is Pluto, and Pluto is the one that presides over death, rebirth, and transformation. So if you think of that legendary phoenix bird, which I love, this is one of the many symbols of Pluto, and that's the mythical creature that kind of like goes from the ashes of destruction to kind of like be born kind of like all over again. So again, Scorpio, water sign, and you need to understand that could be tsunami happening around us this particular full moon. And that's why it's basically asking you to remove kind of like anything bulky, like let's talk metaphorically, bulky kind of clothing, bulky attire, and put your kind of like brittle mask and kind of like peel that thick armor. We need to set it all free. So all of that kind of boundaries, everything that has been set, maybe has to be reset over here, right? So do it, release, because water flows. It doesn't resist. If it comes to something, it's going to flow around obstacles, and it's going to go and plunge into depths until you kind of like feel it's kind of like flowing without any effort, right? It's also not solid, it doesn't stop you, it kind of like carries you. If anybody tried to swim against the flow, you will see how really difficult it is. And yet if you go down, it's effortless, right? Also, if you have the currents, it just like sucks you right under, right? So in this particular full moon, the heaviness is going to pull us underground, and that's why it was like this big introduction. And keep in mind, you no longer need a heaviness, you no longer need to block yourself. So now you get to choose to be that phoenix, you get to choose to live the truth of who you really are and where you really want to be. So let's collectively, if you have the coffee, put the coffee aside, let's take that long deep breath, and even a longer, slower exhalation. Let's repeat. Safi joined the process. So you guys need to give yourself permission to revive your personal power through all these cosmic connections, God connection, whatever is your natural state. This is where this is going to happen. You are becoming force of nature. So I love you guys, and let's go through it. So my plan for today, if you allow me, let me see, where is my screen? I'm just trying to see what we see on the table. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to use chakra cards to give you full moon messages for your particular sign. And I'm going to use Gilded Tarot, which I haven't used in a while. Since angel cards are on the floor and I cannot use them, if I have the reading that for some reason needs extra clarification, and you know that like when something looks negative, also let's see, guys, keep in mind there's nothing positive or negative in tarot. Even when we get negative message, for example this full moon, some people can go, oh, the world is coming, oh my gosh, everything is going to fall apart. Well, maybe it needs to fall apart, maybe we need to have like a different system, maybe something should happen. So I'm expecting things on all level. And this doesn't mean it's going to manifest today. It could manifest in quite a while, because water can rule years. But it is something that actually started over this weekend. So mark my words, when we go back in the history, they'll be talking about May 17, 18. Okay, so let's start. We are still having Taurus, and my apologies for not doing monthlies yet. I'm going to jump right into June. The reason for that is, oh my gosh, I'm dealing with the hospital and with my dad daily. Realizing the politics, I really thought I ran into a few people who are just completely psychopathic. It turns out that's the way it is. It turns out they are just belligerent. They just call it bed blockers. They want to get rid of people. So it is an enormous fight. You know, that has to go to whom? No, he doesn't. Because in our country, we have that supported by the government, right? So they pay for it. Mind you, it's a partial pay because you just get basics. So you still have to pay quite a bit of the money. I think additional $900 a month for just to get a better room, and then television, phone, and all these bills. So you get extra bills. So it will be bills for Toronto, bills for Niagara Falls, and bills for home, which, guys, you need to order for me. Only lots of work. So that's basically what I'm seeing, and just want to see how this full moon is going to react, because right after the reading I'm heading down. We have Victoria Day. That's because of Queen Victoria. She was like really interesting queen, and she's really well known for using marijuana and cocaine. And so I'll just leave it in that. You can guys Google it. So let's start. We still actually are in Taurus, so let's go with Taurus over here. Taurus. What are the messages for Taurus for this week? Oh, look at that. I didn't change this. It's not 11 to 17. It will be 18 to 24th. Bad cat. See, that's what happens. I literally don't have time for anything, because this is, when I'm at home, these people from the hospital call me all the time. And then I have to call lawyers and see what is going on and anything else, or I'm there. So this is really not really working well right now. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Creative girl. Yes, exactly it is. I'm approving this. Yeah, these people are jerks. You know what bothers me? Let me tell you something. I came from Croatia, and my parents are, I would not say wealthy, because nobody in Croatia was wealthy at the time, but we live in, let's say, best part of the town. We had private, basically, place to live, which was kind of like, let's say we were not 1%ers, but maybe we have been 10%ers, right? So I could have used that kind of like tangent and be given a job, be given a position, and just live that superficial life. Honestly, that creeped me up. I just really didn't want to be shill, and I knew that at 17 when I came over here, and I came over here and I stayed. And life was never easy here for me. Don't get, I mean, anybody who worked in marketing, you have fired every 1 to 2 years because they shift and they want a new blood. That's extremely stressful. But you know what? If I have to do it again, I will do it all over again. So that's why I don't understand these people at the hospitals who, instead of looking about people and patients, and that my dad can be on the street driving a car and kill somebody, nah, because their job is more important, and their job in Canada is basically paid by us taxpayers, and this is what makes it very difficult. So that much about me being Aquarius and Libra. You can tell I am really, really up on the social justice. And trust me, when I get pissed off, I get pissed off. I'm told that I have to just sit in the room and that people are afraid of me. And that's interesting, right? Taurus, you have 2 of Wands that came reversed. Why is this reversed? In this particular deck, I really love this card because it almost looks like it's identical path. Look at that. We have those elks or whatever, deer at the bottom of the path. Let me put it a little bit down here so you can see it, right? I put it a little too much down right now. You can see nothing. And up, up, up. You see it here? And yet one has a mountain and it looks like another one has a mountain. So what one should choose? So 2 is always about choices. 2 is all about justice. 2 is always about which direction to go, where here it feels like there is no direction. Why can we kind of like make a decision? Maybe we can't make a decision because somebody else or something else is constraining us. Let's see more for Taurus. Taurus rising. My dad is Taurus, so I can see that from his standpoint, he absolutely hates where he is at, right? So I see trouble with the family. He probably thinks, and you see, this is the worst part. I'm doing that in his best interest, and he's probably feeling that I'm putting him in jail. And it's a horrible, horrible situation that I feel the hospital and dad, everybody's as against me. And I frankly cannot really live in fear anymore of him burning the house or causing a harm to people. It's just not right. Because the 10 of Cups coming reversed is signifying that whole disconnect within the family, or somebody putting a brave face. But this can also talk about emotional manipulation, somebody saying things and not thinking or not really believing in them. And that definitely could be one of those issues over there, right? So let's see. Healing thoughts, guys, are always helpful. Look at that. Ace of Wands. Something is resurrecting from the past. Something is being restarted. And Ace of Wands is promising card, but it's definitely talking about something from the past going on. And I'm so sorry for everybody who is going through that. Honestly, I never realized how difficult it is to be a caregiver. And especially I'm a POA, power of attorney, and I need to advocate for him, and I need to advocate according to what he told me when he was fully lucid. Now at times he thinks I'm his wife, he thinks that I am his mother-in-law, then he screams, and it's extremely painful, I have to tell you this, because it's like erasing life. But this is kind of like what is karma that does to us. And honestly, this is devil's disease. I named a disease like I have never seen anything bad as that. Your mind is playing tricks on you. You think things are like different than they are, and everybody you're seeing as an enemy. So please be kind to people with dementia, because it's a really nasty disease, right? So Taurus, what are your full moon messages? What needs to be released? Oh my gosh, Sally, my thoughts are up to you. Oh, recovery. Oh my gosh, you need to release recovery. That kind of like worries me. Right, because usually when we get a card, it's not like, oh, look at that, this is kind of happening, because there is like a whole bunch of things that are really connecting with that, and this is falling in the third chakra region, and something that kind of like is brewing. I don't know if you can see it here. There we go. You know, this really talks about pain from the past, and I can see it over here for you Tauruses, right? The key needs to be used. Look at me, I'm having this all the way up. The key needs to be used to open this door over here, clearly, right? And then, you know, one has to find a new way, you know, of living, one without keys. So it looks like they don't really want to go there. It looks like that there is like something behind this door that has been dormant, or that has to be recovered, or maybe somebody's not really realizing that the future can be better, and it's fighting it. So this is about really facing fears, because look at the two of them. They're like sort of like having that divine intervention. This is courage to face pain, and this is also awakeness and regeneration, as I told you, like this particular moon. So giving this is a full moon message, right? A full moon message means you fully and absolutely need to focus on your recovery. So whether this is, guys, your emotional recovery, your physical recovery, that there's like something that is missing, money, you need to kind of like focus in that particular way, and that's going to help. So third eye chakra is the one we are connecting with a higher purpose. So, you know, Taurus is usually earth sign. You really go into kind of nitty gritty, but this is asking you to go above and not to really think about, like, I mean, day-to-day things. It's just like think about the long-term process. So good luck, Taurus. Open the door. So who is next? We go to Gemini. Gemini. So just a quick cleanup over here, a sip of coffee. Hopefully everybody's having a coffee. My first today, because as I told you, like I was sleeping back and forth. We had the first fire at 11. I just fell asleep, and then I couldn't sleep until 2, and I fell asleep, and another one was at 3. Lovely, huh? And then Tiger woke me up at 6, and I tried to sleep a little bit more, so not fun. Hello, nice to find you as well. Hi, Pamela. So let's go, Gemini. What do we have here for you, Gemini? We have Knight of Wands, which is kind of like the opposite forces of your regular forces. Hi, Seth, you want to join us? You want to join Gemini? Really? Do you have messages for them? Are you going to be loved? Huh? Are you going to give love? Nada? Okay. So the next two cards you have are pretty cool. So you have Knight of Wands, you have 8 of Pentacles, and you have 9 of Cups. Now, 9 of Cups to me is a very interesting card, right? And I know that some readers call it, oh, it's a wish card, make a wish. It's a BS. I, you know, listened to it many times, and I say, okay, let's go with the flow. You know, people have different system. Never a wish came true. And the reason is for that people sometimes lull themselves into, hey, everything is going well. So this really sounds to me that maybe somebody is going to enter your life, and that you're realizing upon initial meeting, there are red flags, or there are possible issues, or you need to address something, right? Or, you know how we, especially women, we want to be nice in a conversation, and somebody says something that is off, or let's say the guy's on you with on a date with you, and he says, oh, my wife, and then you kind of in your head assuming, well, he must mean ex-wife because that's what he said to me when we were talking previously, and you don't clarify, and that can be a crucial mistake. Trust me, from this experience with the hospital, I'm learning about crucial mistakes, and also questions. For example, I had to ask, did my dad have housing capacity made on him? Because I did ask capacity and said, yeah, he did it. And then I realized he didn't do that. So kind of like also look at the subtlety of those messages and don't lull yourself into everything will be fine. I'm just in a perfect place. I am loved over here. Oh my God, look at that. This is the biggest one ever. Thank you. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Now, guys, Nine of Cups, it's almost like in Osho Zen, which I released the annuals. I hope you like them, even though I got some comments, oh my gosh, you're wishing Merry Christmas in May. Yes, because they were recorded in November and December. They were for people who paid for annuals, and I always release them end of the May for everybody so you can see how they look like, and then hopefully you will order them in October and November. In Osho Zen, we have a card of Nine of Cups. It shows the guy, and I don't know if I have it here that I can show you, who is kind of like sitting and having his pina colada or something in his arm, enjoying his life. He's completely oblivious that he kind of has a mirror next to him that is kind of collapsing. And there he is. And look at the card is called laziness. So you see what I mean? Like I mean, Osho, Mr. Osho, who is like a big philosopher, I think Japanese with Indian. Somebody corrected me, God. He's also spent lots of time in India, but who doesn't if you want to study true philosophy? See this mirror collapsing? And also when you see this like black and white checkerboard, it always talks about good and bad, like, right, good and evil, and it's something that is like fading away. And this really talks about maybe somebody being overly self-indulgent, not really caring about the others being part of the picture. So keep that in mind and put that in a perspective, okay guys? So let's see, Gemini, let's clean those, the blue moon or full moon messages. And guys, did you guys have any interesting things happening to you over the last 2-3 days that you noticed that people were crappier, dishonest, or that you had to bark at them, that, you know, niceness didn't really work, that they were just triggered from, oh yeah, our mailman got triggered. He was just like, oh my gosh, I've never seen a man on PMS. Whoa, that's interesting kind of a thing. So it was all over the place. Just please do share, because it was like, for me, this is the strongest full moon I have ever experienced in my life, and I'm not a spring chicken, right? So let's see. Pamela Rose, since you look at that recovery as well. Since this is a reading for a week. This is a general reading for this particular sign. I also advise that you guys check your other planets, especially close planets. Let me give you the link for that so you can do that for free, and I had it somewhere here. Overall, this one is pretty neat to look into that. For me personally, they're saying the most important thing is like to look for your ascendant. That doesn't work for me. I always look first for my sun sign. I don't know, you guys tell me what works for you. But this is interesting because my sun sign is also the same as my Venus. It's the same as my Mercury, right? So that's where I have Aquarius. But my ascendant is Leo. My ascendant is, Libra, which is also air. And luckily I have a Leo in a moon, which kind of rules my emotions. So I'm not aloof like other Aquarians. I can even cry because my sun sign is cusp, right, with Pisces. And just like my Libra is cusp with Scorpio, so I can really fully understand like all these signs. I also have lots of Virgo, and luckily this Virgo is like now making me survive. So thank you all Virgos who you're here, because without kind of planning my days, I would not be able to get through it. So Gemini, you also have a recovery card. Just like Taurus, you can go back in the detailed things. This is about becoming aware of something. You are probably trying to head to some kind of solution or resolution of some kind of kind. And the answer is completely elsewhere. The answer is going to be from above, or answer might not be what you want, but it's going to happen. So this is something you need to release. You maybe need to release And I'm sorry to say this, that we all want, we meet somebody and we say, yes, he or she's like so amazing. We hear these wedding bells. I always remember this first scene in Bridget Jones' movie when she hears the wedding march, right? When she meets that boss of hers, right? But we always are like that, both men and women. And this is why online dating is very difficult, because you expect, oh, this person, will I marry this person? And you go from point A to point B without kind of like including a whole bunch of other stuff in the process. So what I said, it's sorry to say, do not idolize this person too much. Just kind of like try to see if this person is putting you on a pedestal or they only care about themselves, because Knight of Wands has tendency not to really stick around for too long. It's kind of like usually known as the proverbial one night stand, somebody who is declaring that you are his or her muse, and I don't know how I lived without you all my life. And then you wake up in the morning with this like big, beautiful smile, and next thing you know, this person is never ever coming back in your life, and you're left puzzled and confused. And we kind of like had these experiences in our life in one way or the other happening, right? So keep that in mind. We are going, look at Andy, you have like some really really strong kind of like correspondence over there. So Taurus season, Taurus reading can resonate. And also what I really like about you guys who come over here online, you are contributing with your own energy, and we all come from different walks of life. We all come from different kind of backgrounds. And so your angel guides are connecting and sending the messages, and they are becoming more universal. So you are the messengers for everybody else on the channel, like, I mean, all these other people. And this is like really, really amazing. So we are going to Cancer, and maybe hopefully somebody can actually mark this down. I forgot for the first two signs. It's like 2650. Cancer, 2650. If you can just type it, so later somebody can just pick up all of these and just put the stamps in. So Cancer, 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 Cancer. Oh, we have Cancer rising, and we have lots of messages for Cancer. Look at this, the full-blown reading. Page of Cups, but then it's followed with Ten of Swords. And then we have a King of Wands, the Moon, Four of Pentacles, the Emperor, Nine of Wands, and then again a Page of Pentacles. Where do I start, Cancer? It's going to be a very eventful full moon, and you do have the moon, and guess who is ruled by the moon? And that's why, oh my gosh, buckle up and just go for the extra rope, and not a bungee rope, just something that is going to keep you down really, really solid, because you will be going in every single direction. Now, it's a good news, it's a bad news, right? So we have this Page of Cups. So this is kind of like it's opening with possibly having, and there's like something else also that flicks, Two of Wands, anything else. You're possibly starting a weekend with, and I don't know if you guys in the States also have a long weekend, and Australia, this particular thing, Australians are just like us under the Queen, and some of us don't really like it here in Canada, but it is what it is. We apparently have to worship the Queen and die for her, which is kind of, hello, ridiculous. I don't know you, kind of a thing, right? So it might be that something that you really, really wanted, or tell me what you want, what you really, really want, is going to end up with feeling rejected, feeling backstabbed, and feeling horrified about the outcome of the situation. The Ten of Swords is never a good card, and this is that full moon, that is the transformation. Maybe something really needs to end, and you guys really take things to heart, really, really a lot, and you're a highly emotional sign, and the moon can even, and the full moon can even more emphasize it. So be very careful with driving, guys. Be very careful of what you say to the other people, because I can see here, you know how Cancer climb up, that is like shown in Four of Pentacles. Look at him, he's holding everything to himself. It's just like, just leave me kind of alone. So you'll be literally crabbled with coming out and pulling back, out and pulling back. But there is a good news in this. Two of Wands, that lastly kind of like peeked out that I noticed is actually also flicked. It's talking about that indecision. Maybe something is going to happen to you that is going to be hurtful. And that is going to make you wonder about the future direction, because it could be jealousy, it could be that you don't have and you don't know the full truth. And this is not exactly yet the time to kind of like make big decision. But King of Wands and the Emperor here is like awesome news. It means in spite of everything that you will either have somebody who will be there and supporting you, and where you're going to feel firmed and solid and supported, and that you know the directions, that you are kind of like planning this, that you are sort of the master of your domain, if you wish. But at the same time, there are like some things that you guys have already going where you kind of like thinking about, well, I need to give up on something. There are like certain things that you just like think, oh, I don't know if I should go in this direction, because 901 talks about this like proverbial warrior, and he's fighting and fighting and fighting. Look, he's like on somebody's trail. I don't know why they didn't put a dog with a nose on the ground, kind of like sniffing like somebody's kind of like steps. But it's a 9, which means he is just about to either win or lose, right? And he is deciding to go forward. But you have a 9 here, you have a 9 here. So going from 10 to 9, this is like typical for Cancer. You climb up over some kind of like thing, and you're going in the processing of some sort. So it could be the same situation that somehow is a big flop over the weekend, is going to kind of come back during the week to kind of like refocus and redefine, because it's ending with Page of Pentacles, which you started with Page of Cups, and these are messengers. And Page of Pentacles is, okay, so let's see how do we sort things out, but it's kind of like very slow. I mean, Page of Cups is also slow, but it's more like emotional component, and I can see these emotions over here. But then I see lots of fire, because it almost looks like that something will happen that is going to almost quote unquote wake you up. Since we are talking about blue moon and something that we are releasing, in your case, you are releasing, looks like people who are not good for you. You are releasing yourself from a situation where you feel stuck. You're releasing your situation from, you're releasing yourself from where, you know, you feel that you need to protect your heart and your money. Like money is like really first thing you think when something happens, because to you this is also your security. It's almost like your home, proverbial home. You're looking at that. So what is a blue moon, full moon message for Cancer? Victim. You got a victim. So see, it's again a matter of heart. So it's going to be talking about the fact that you're not the victim. Right, so it's kind of like really a story here. Not to go into stories too much, but it's kind of like trading, like big acorn for the small acorn. But it really talks about denial, and some kind of like denial that is holding you back. So this is a time to say that you are in power, you are in charge, you see things as they are. You have been already through some kind of emotional impact, so never mind. I've been through it. Do I need to give myself this all over again? No. So you need to make an honest assessment of your situation in order to move forward, right? And you guys are really able to make breakthroughs, because 10 of Swords, even the, right? But look at that. Can you see something that I'm seeing? Can you see there is this light coming through? This is our spirituality awakening and raising, and there's like something being born out of it, kind of a thing. You guys need to take new choices in order to grow. You need to stop blaming others. You need to stop blaming past. You need to stop blaming, oh, you did it to me, now I'm going to spend 3 years eating ice cream, and you did it to me, kind of a thing. How about, well, wait a minute, there are other people around, and this might be something good, because after all, you kind of like were always immature. You kind of like never kind of like put as much effort as I really wanted to. So this is that potential for really greatness. As I told you, these cards are not, oh, you know, you're going to fall a victim. No, this is really telling you, hello, wakey wakey, and it is really time to kind of like choose one of these two paths. But I think this particular week it's more or less going to be along the lines that you will be repositioning yourself and just like very slowly moving in a new direction. So that's what it is. Okay, Sally, see you later. Little Cancer. The next is a Leo. I think Sally's a Leo. She's just like leaning right there. So, Crystal, what the heck is with this Cancer going on? Anybody give me the clues of the real lives? Where is that message coming here? Oh, you don't have a long weekend. I think Americans have a long weekend. Usually they overlap us with them, so that way we can travel around. I really don't like this long weekend because they have fireworks. I don't know, like I told you, I come from Croatia, so I was running away from the war. And whenever I hear this fireworks, I always have the stress, and I think Puppy might actually not like it either, so Monday is going to be very tricky. So we are going in Leo. Leo. What do we see for Leo? Leo. And guess what, guys? I was telling you that I was in the winter cold last weekend. It's really, really cold. We actually had a snow. Well, snow. We didn't have a snow. It's kind of, we've seen snowflakes. But we are going in the summer tomorrow. How is that? That's the climate in Toronto. Like, it's a very long winter and then no spring. Everything is green outside. Just happened in a few days. And tomorrow they're saying 27. And 27 would be what? It will be 80s. So, yeah. Not fun. And I don't like 80s either. Leo. What's going to happen with Leo for this week? Leo. King of Swords. And Two of Wands. Like, what is with this Two of Wands? Are we all kind of like standing somewhere and holding? Like, I mean, honestly, I don't know. Now I look at this card and it reminded me on Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic. I'm the king of the world. Kind of like it reminded me of that scene. And I don't know why that crossed my mind and didn't before. And King of Swords, Leo, is somebody fair. It could be talking about something legal. But King of Swords is also something highly logical. Something that, you know, is there's like somebody who will just say this is the right thing to do, and maybe you are going to be able to absorb that on the intellectual level, but you won't be able to put that yet into kind of like particular steps, into some kind of like pragmaticism and where you want to go. Let me just grab one more card over here. Ten of Swords. Are you guys dealing with something or some betrayal? Are you dealing with somebody who had power over you? Or you do feel, however, that there is like something just that happened, but you're still feeling in a position of suffering. You're still feeling constrained in a position that you just don't know how to get out of it, and you feel that the outside influences are the ones that have to determine what's happening over here, and this is really bothering you. And again, I have to say, Ten of Swords is a good card. It's not a good card about what has been happening, because I don't wish on anybody like these kind of like crappy things, but this simply means that something was not sustainable. And now this makes sense, because you do know it in your mind, right? We know it. Well, he's cheating on me, she's cheating on me. We know we should kind of let go, but we don't want to. We want to hold on to that. So it could be just something like that about some decisions need to be made. So, and what do we have here? We have frivolity or lightness, we have pleasure seekers, and we have fortune. And I just really wanted to get more clarification on this kind of whole direction. So pleasure seekers was reversed. I'm wondering if you guys had a third party situation, and you know, or that you're trying to raise above some kind of like leftovers, resonance of something. You know, people hurt us, we recover, and we move on with our life. And yet 20 years later, it's a smell or a song, and you're just triggered. you feel something all over again. Or 20 years later, you are dating somebody and they say something or do something that you go, oh my God. You know, did you ever see that sometimes people physically resemble, and and then you know that they're not good for you, and yet you still feel familiarity? That's because of the past lives, etc. So this is really telling me that, you know, you guys probably have worked on yourself quite a bit. I mean, this is, I don't know why they call it frivolity. It should be lightness. It should be this like light being, like, you know, Kundera's book, right? um, you're releasing something and you're going to be very successful. You're having this fortune card, which is just amazing. So you see how sometimes cards can be very deceptive, and that's why I always tell people, go for the longer readings. I know they're more expensive, but they also take more energy from me, and you get better answers, and you can go into these layers. So fortune is everything, guys. You are being led on the path of more money, of more success, of song, of music. I'll celebrate. What can I tell you? Sucks to be you, Leo. You see how messages of something that has been really painful are coming now with resolution, that you actually won. Maybe you have been tested karmically and now everything is moving forward. Hello everybody, guys. Happy full moon. I've never seen that, but that's cute. Okay, so oh, I see, Andy. That's going to be really, really acceptance. You guys are going to enjoy the weather, really enjoy this weather, but then the next week apparently we are going back into cold. How about this? When I studied this card, you know, I kind of like first always look at the cards and see what they mean for me, and of course I respect the artist and what they meant with that, and I don't always go with what they say. And this was like one of those times, right? Because I observed here a cherry pie, I observed the slice, and in English is the thing, the seed in the middle of the cherry is called pit, right? And it's also called that you have something in a pit of your stomach. So that's kind of like immediately that that wordplay came to me when I was initially looking at this, and she's like definitely showing this and clenching her fists. And also, to boot, her name is Cherry, right? So it really here tells me that there's like somebody who is maybe not accepting themselves. It could be a problem with some stomach issues or regenerative issues over here, as per position she's holding it. But there is like something that I feel you needed to rediscover in you. There are like some kind of uniqueness about you that you didn't see yourself as complete. You kind of like either felt broken, as I can see it over here, or you distorted reality and felt you are unlovable or unattractive. Now this is something you need to release. That's what the full moon is telling you. That's not true, and you need to embrace this imperfection and that you're selling yourself short, right? So you can focus, you know, on a pit, or you can focus on a cherry, a nice moist cherry, and this beautiful cherry pie. And this is kind of like a really big message for you guys. It looks to me, at least the Leos that are sending me these messages over here, have been through some kind of like turbulence that kind of like really shook you up. I'll tell you example of my little puppy tiger, because he's now getting out of his puppyhood, and I think the other dogs pick up on it. So he gets not attacked, but kind of like really put in order by the bigger dogs. Before, he would go and steal their bowls and stuff, and it was tolerated. But now he does that and he goes, he gets it, right? So he still kind of like takes his chances, and it was one of those dogs that kind of like bit him, but sort of like just to scare him, nothing, no blood, right? And shook this little poor pup's confidence. He was like shaking. He came to me, of course, to his mommy, and good 15 minutes I had to work on his confidence. So see, sometimes putting him back in line made him realize, okay, wait a minute, I cannot be a fool. I cannot kind of like push my luck, and I also have to be responsible. So it's kind of like same thing that we need to do. Thank you, Andy. That is very cute to say. Thank you to say this. Well, I don't know. I was talking to my brother last week. He is in Croatia. He said it was kind of cold. In fact, it was snowing in the mountain nearby. But they got spring way before we got it here. So it's kind of hard to compare. So, okay, this would be Virgo. And you're already getting messages and having, whoa, Four of Pentacles. You're having Knight of Cups. You're having the Hermit, your card, and you're having the Chariot. So water and earth energy, and maybe some, not water and earth energy, clearly, that is like really dominating this particular period, which is really, really important, right? So there is like also the energy of 11. And 11 is like that illumination, just like what we see in your card, the Hermit. Hermit is really about the wisdom. It is about, you know, sometimes people go, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? We collect all these messages, or you read the books and you get different opinions. Some people just absorb other people's opinion as their own. But your sign is meant to filter everything and maybe come up with something new. Hermit is such a powerful card. This is God, right? This is your Jesus proverbial Christ over here, who is kind of like looking for the best solution for everyone. But you are not kind of straying from your spiritual path. You're doing the right thing. This is really hard. Doing the right thing, you always are alone on your path, you know? And that's why they say it's lonely on the top, because you have to make different decisions. So the week is starting with feeling guarded. The week is starting maybe also somebody coming in your life, or you might have somebody who is in and out of your life. But Knight of Cups is also very kind of a gentle card. It's not Knight of Wands, and Knight of Swords either. It's the proverbial like knight in the white armor. But again, knights don't stay very long around us. But this particular one, even if he doesn't stay, they always forever is going to give us that, you know, what is this called? Gone with the wind, kind of like a feeling. Yes, somebody was in my life, he left this big influence. Instead of crying and being devastated, you'll always have the smile on your face, kind of a thing. So this is what this kind of like knight gives. And also the Chariot is the boss of all knights. So this is like where you have it even more intensified. This is a little bit different Chariot card than the other ones, because in this particular one, first of all, we see a lady chariot, and the Sphinx are both kind of directed in the same direction, which is not always the case. Sphinx and the horses, whatever they actually presenting it, usually try to fight for the path they are taking, right? So as you can see, she's very comfortable. She's wearing purple here, which is also spiritual. It's the third eye. It's kind of like divinely guided. You guys, this is a divine week for you. You have a purple, and you have a God over here. So whatever is happening, it can be very important, like flirt. But do not really put an anchor to it. You know what I mean? It might be somebody flirting with you, or you might be flirting with someone, but at the same time you'll feel reserved. And interestingly enough, maybe something even innocent, such as a smile or wink, just in passing, it's just going to open you up as a rose. And that opening up is going to just push it in your direction. This is a lovely way of happening. This is like when you read and see movies and poems, and it's just like it was that one little kind of blink in time that kind of like took a completely different path. I don't know if you see this movie Sliding Doors, that get a heart flow, that kind of like would be that moment over here that you are all of a sudden changed by going through that door. I saw Shazam over the weekend, over the last weekend. So if you guys didn't see it and you need something lighthearted, I do advise it. I'm not a big fan of this Justice League movies at all, but this one was almost like a kid movie and good fun. But the reason why I'm mentioning is about this door that appears, and then you have to make your choices in that door, kind of a thing, right? So let me see. I see Pamela in Greece. I can't believe it. Expansion. I'm sorry, let me just blow my nose. I told you I have a cold, so I took pills, my Dayquil, before I started to start live, but it looks like it's still not fully in power. So this is kind of interesting. So now we have not one god, but two gods, and they're like the god of wind and the mother earth over here. And almost like telling me, just like Chariot, and Chariot is like this big vision where you're going to the universe, you are claiming who you are, grabbing what you want, right? It could be that, remember how I was telling you about the seeking advice, right? Ask for advice if it's important for you to go to new territory. And please, 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 in this particular time, stay away from anybody who is being critical of you or of your dreams. And I really think, because Chariot, generally, these are two kind of like alone cards. You might be leaving certain things behind. That could be your transformation. Maybe you had people around you who minimized you, who you would try to share something with them and they would just immediately change the conversation and it will be about them, right? Or they would not celebrate your kind of like milestones with you, or they would not be available for you. You want to talk about something because you really have a bad day and you know that sharing bad things with somebody, you're burdening them with that, but this is kind of like we really need to, and they just wouldn't do that. So you need to ask yourself, and I think that's what you're asking yourself, who are these people around me? Are they really my co-pilots in this whole plan, or they will just look for themselves and take the last parachute and leave me kind of like holding like myself? So I really think new people are entering your life, and this is like some new and gentle thing, and you're going to go through a whole bunch of things. You're going to have people who are wise, people who are collaborators, people who are having like this kind of creativity and spank and kind of like something light around and spiritual support. You're going to be guided, almost like spiritually guided, right? So it might be counseling, guys. It may be formal counseling. It could be informal counseling. It could be simply, coming to get there and watching your, June thing and say, holy moly. Not really June. I always go, when the sign switches, sort of like for the transition of Gemini. You guys are going in a new direction. So what you need to release things that just don't work for you anymore. And that doesn't mean like you're going to call 100 people and say, listen, you're off the list, even though that might happen. It's going to more or less be, okay, you know what, you're not in my close circle anymore, because I have decided, life is short, and I need to really find maybe 2 people, but really high quality people, and that's kind of like what matters over here. So let's see what is next. So this is Virgo, so you're going Libra. That's my ascendant. Close to Amsterdam. I have my relatives who live in Utrecht, and they have very interesting accent over there in Utrecht, so it's nice. Well, it's not English, but your English is really good, better than mine. So Libra, 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 Libra. 4 of Cups. Honestly, I was thinking it's going to be 2 of Wands, and I was like, oh my god, this is a 2 of Wands kind of like a fiesta and party. And here we have a whole bunch of cards coming through. Anything else flicked? Okay. So 4 of Cups was first. Then I have Page of Swords and Queen of Wands. And then I have a King of Pentacles and 5 of Pentacles. So this King of Pentacles next to 5 of Pentacles really worries me, Libra. It could be a person. This could be somebody who is not committing, or who is lying, and who is maybe leaving you out in a cold, or maybe you have left them in a cold. Because there are lots of aspects over here to happening. 4 of Cups is sort of like not seeing something that is obvious, maybe missing the opportunity. But in this particular card, usually in their other decks, the person is just like so absorbed into looking elsewhere, not seeing anything. But in this particular deck, this person actually sees this divine intervention. And this person is realizing, okay, you know what? Yes, yes, and yes, I'm going to take this. I want this. I really think that I need to act upon that. Because if you also see, we see, I think that would be the mouse, or probably not the rat, maybe a rat as well, kind of nibbling on one. Then we have the squirrel coming on another, right? So there are lots of kind of like nectars being relinquished. But look at him or her. Either it's a girl in a miniskirt and the leggings, or it's a boy, and it's somebody who is almost saying, just please give me this. Yes, I am ready. And this to me like has a completely different meaning. And there's like something that everybody's interested, like almost like organic with that squirrel over here. So why I'm spending so much time on that card, which generally is not very special if you really wish my justification of the card, is because I have this Queen of Wands and Page of Swords. Queen of Wands in the other decks is shown with the black kitty, and it generally talks about somebody who is pushing forward and she's kind of holding her cards close to her chest. So she has a plan of action. And Page of Swords can be brutally saying your own truth, brutally saying, yeah, this is what I want, this is how I want it, and it's what it happen, and I don't care what you think, and this is what it is. You know, it's just like you can hear it on news and televisions, people kind of like really thinking they're so smart, because it's a young energy, and it's the energy that doesn't understand that, hey, you know what, that's cool that you think this way, all your ideas could be 100%, but the delivery was horrifying, right? So you need to kind of like work on that kind of a thing, right? So it could be two different people, it could be overlapping, could be that you just simply are bursting certain things out, because I'm seeing here a conflict. I'm seeing here somebody feeling left down. I'm seeing here a solution appearing, and it's simply kind of like out of nowhere. It's almost like it's a proverbial phoenix. It's raising from the ashes, because we see this like huge fire happening over here. So I think Libra is going to be something that probably you bottle up, because Libra is not like us Aquarians or Geminis. They don't really melt off as easily as we can do. And because Libra has this finesse, but also the same finesse is sometimes hesitation in action and in comparison to the other two air signs. So what I see over here is like, no, you're going back to this basic of the air. You maybe bottle something up to the point that it cannot be constrained anymore. Maybe somebody suppressed you, maybe somebody did something to you, because King of Pentacles is somebody who is holding the information or money or something crucial away from you. And you, Libra, you're in full control. You're telling, you know what, I'm not standing for this. F you, and off you go. It's going to be really, Libra is not a good sign to mess with, because Libra appears to be very nice. I have to tell you, I have my neighbor friend is a Libra, and she has a tiny little chihuahua, and she was walking down the street and she saw the guy abusing another dog, and she stood up in the middle of the street. She stopped the entire traffic. She was screaming from the top of her lungs. That's how I saw her through the window. You having this? What do you think you're doing? Like, you see, that's the sense of justice. When Libra gets triggered, oh boy, that's a freaking tornado. So people who know Libra, watch out. That's kind of like, is really, really important here to know. So, bittersweet. It's somebody's birthday, so it is not your time for your birthday, but it could be some kind of like celebration. So there is like definitely communication, something. I'm really picking it up also that there's like something on your mind. There's like something that you really need to release, because this is the full moon message, guys, right? And one window opens, the door closes, one door closes, another one opens, right? Honestly, I worked in marketing. I have lost so many jobs because layoffs in marketing are proverbially notorious. And each and every time, first few times I was very upset, of course, right? Because you need to always have some kind of padding for that soft place to fall. But then I was not upset anymore because I realized that each and every time the new position was paying me more because I would always ask for more. So it was like, okay, not only will I rest a month, but I'm going to get paid more. So in the end, it kind of like worked better. And that month I would take a course or something and even get kind of like higher expertise. So this is something over here, similar message. Don't cry over spilled milk. There are hidden blessings in a situation. There is like some kind of celebration, but it also has some kind of sadness with it, right? There is like about protecting someone, because look at it, how lovely. There's somebody's bringing this and melting somebody, and this is very similar to that card release, right? So whatever is happening requires release. That can also talk about some kind of unexpected news, and it can talk about the altercation of some kind of kind, right? So the reason why they have this birthday here, I think it's called Blue November, the entire kind of like a scene that they're really explaining this, right? And it's kind of like talking about a celebration planning for a child, right? But you know, for some reason, I think even if your situation is really hard, you're still pretending that you're really happy for this particular child, right? So you're hiding any kind of like sorrows, right? So this is kind of like what really talks about God's energy that we are willing to produce. So that's why I'm seeing something is conflicting in terms of kind of coming different energies. So it's going to be victory. It's going to be something you really, really wanted, but you will know that at the same time this is happening with something that you needed to let go of someone. You needed to kind of do something that maybe otherwise you would choose to do it differently, but it looks like there was no other option than doing it in this way. So we are coming to this like really heavy signs, Scorpio and Sagittarians. These are my like really, when I do these readings for Scorpio Sagittarians, I literally feel like I'm in bumps and stuff. So, and I don't know why those signs are really kind of like getting to me. So let's do this, right? Your Barbie, you're right. And I know as an Ascendant, you just, and I really have to watch. I know what my triggers are. It will be also injustice or something. And then I do stuff that probably later I'm thinking maybe it was not the wisest thing to do, but it is what it is. A sip of coffee. Scorpio. 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 We have the Fool, we have King of Wands, and we have Ten of Swords. You know, Scorpios, I don't know about you, but one thing is like I'm really learning from this intensity that kind of streams through me. I must have some kind of spirit angels or somebody around me that is a Scorpio, because it is just unbelievable, that energy that comes through me. And when your energy streams through me, I'm always like feeling like a warm water is flushing me right in that direction. It feels nice, but it also feels that I don't have any control, you know, like I mean that forcefulness that I feel over there. So I'm also feeling that whenever some kind of like negative card comes through, like in this case Ten of Swords, that you guys are not like us, the other sides. We go like, oh no, you go like, I mean, bring it on. It's just kind of like that fierce quality that I'm feeling when kind of like I'm going through the energies. So like either your spirit guides are like so powerful in advocating for you, or you people here online right now are there just like really sending me this scorpionic energy. So let's see what's going on this particular week. You got the Fool. Fool is God as well. Fool, Hangman, and Hermit would be biggest representation of God in tarot. So there is like this 0 point, 0 ground. You are resetting something, guys. Something is starting all over. I don't know, maybe you have somebody, air sign or fire sign in your life, that maybe left a big impression on you. King of Wands is feeling that somebody rules you over. King of Wands is also like, it's kind of like some kind of stability. But you feel that maybe this fire sign kind of like ended something that for you, or maybe you were just feeling that either you feel that you foolishly did not think about some situation in a time, or you feel of yourself as a fool over trusting somebody who betrayed you, right? It can be interpreted both ways this particular time. So there is like still somebody in your mind that is like on some kind of pedestal with this King of Wands, and this is a really powerful king, particularly in this deck. I don't know if you can see this guy. He's floating. He's not standing on the ground. He is like right up in the air, has this like huge, enormous celestial energy, right? And he totally knows who he is. So also, if you really look at these two cards, one is looking up with a mask. They're like still some kind of like hiding, and looks like one person in this whole situation had this ability to be both good and bad at the same time, where the other was just like simply kind of like raising above all of these things. So this was like almost like a power struggle that I am picking up over here, and it's a power struggle that somehow with the Ten of Swords ended up in kind of like ending up with something couldn't continue going on. But as I said, in this particular deck, we also see this energy. So there is like some resurrection from this energy. So Scorpio, resurrection, full moon in Scorpio. Oh my God, what a powerful combination over here. So let's see over here. Why is the Ten of Swords here for Scorpio? We have widower again, we have thought, and we have child. I mean, all of these cards have like so many layers. Widower, it really talks about somebody who has been through the loss, just like this card says. But also somebody who is finally ready to move on, right? And you see, it's about thinking about that. It's maybe you're thinking about losing someone, or either you have left someone or somebody has left you, because the child card has this multiple meanings, like you had something with this person. So this is like something stemming from the past. You are looking back in your past, guys, Scorpio. In order for you to move forward, you need to reassess your past. There's like somebody in your past, most likely, as I said, air or fire sign, that left a huge mark on you. The child can also mean literal child, of course, right? So maybe it's a baby's mama, baby's daddy, that kind of like something is happening here, and you are going through your thoughts. You know, sometimes we build this house of cards, and in our head, this is how we think the world has to work. You're Scorpio, you're fixed sign just like me, and when we are fixed signs, we are on the top, we're on the roof, we completely forgotten that everything is wobbly on the bottom, right? And all of a sudden something collapses, and then we realize later, oh my goodness, I should have done it this way. Because this is a good thing about fixed signs. Even though we can be reckless and stubborn and pig-headed at times, and that's because we've built a system, and of course nobody can build a better system than us. But then we realize that system collapsed. We at least have that insight to understand, oh my gosh, and I've been doing all of that and didn't realize this. Oh my God, that's what I needed to do. So I really think for you guys, you're kind of like really realizing or thinking about some kind of past actions, or how you affected the others and how others affected you. This is going to be really full moon, because I cannot tell you how much energy I feel. I'm almost like feeling that my entire stomach is like I'm in a big air ball. It just like it's very hard to explain the energy that I get through Scorpion, especially now. I literally feel like an air. And the reason why I feel like an air is I feel so very light. So it's just against the air. It's just the way you would feel if you're in the water, right? Because you're being pushed by something so buoyant, right? So almost like it's kind of like giving me that same feeling, even though I'm not surrounded with the water. So let's see your full moon messages. Look at this, soulmate. Now, this card has a duality in itself. You see, the soulmate is not put here in a heart chakra. Soulmate here is put in a base chakra, and there is a reason over here, right? Because this in particular card talks about talk to the hand. Maybe you feel somebody didn't listen to you, or you felt you didn't listen to someone. It was connecting somebody's physical aspect to somebody's spiritual aspect over here. Maybe you have been going through something, and since you're so highly emotional, the emotions would kill you if you process them. And you put them sometimes aside and you bottle them up, but they do come through, either through diseases or through, they're just like, bleh, they just come out and you kind of like freak out, right? So just this card usually compares this to the rose, and the rose has thorns, right? So now, you know, we need to kind of like think about what our own thorns, how do we affect people, what truth are you embracing, right? This card really tells us no longer living a lie. You realize on some level that you have tried, you know, maybe you tried a social media way. On Instagram, everybody has the best food, everybody has the best life. Oh my gosh, aren't you ever sick of kind of like seeing this? Come on, guys, you know, let's be normal. But normal doesn't give clicks and like things. But what is really good about you, what is really what I'm telling you when I'm channeling your sign, it's that authenticity, it's commitment. But this is really talking about new truths, unexpected outcome, and a new trust or new realizations. So it's going to be really interesting, guys. If you're listening this, I would love to hear your comments, and because this is extremely powerful reading. I'm telling you, I'm actually vibrating from the energy and getting very lightheaded because these messages are coming really, really forward. So you almost like you're going in a new direction, and you're going in this new direction by applying lessons that you have learned in the past. So that's kind of like really, really interesting. So, just give me a second. This was powerful. And now we are going into Sagittarians. Do we have any Sagittarian or Scorpio here? Or Scorpio rising? Or Scorpio Venus or Scorpio moon? It will be really interesting. You don't get static, Pamela, if you wrap kitties. Like that means that there is not enough moisture in the air. You just need to kind of put humidifier in the room, because that's what I have. And my hairs, my kitty's fur is so soft, and they like it because that static, it really bothers them, right? So that's why I put it there for everybody. Okay, Pamela, look at this. Sagittarius. Let's do that. Oh, Crystal, you're Scorpio. Let's do this. No rubbing cats on the computers. Well, they like mices, right? So let's do it that way. Sagittarius. What are the messages for Sagittarius? The Hanging Man. And there's something else that flicked. There we go. King of Wands and Knight of Cups. Sagittarians, you have either water signs and fire signs around you, and there is like the essence of paying some dues. There is some essence of some kind of sacrifice that needs to be made. The Hanging Man is, like, as I told you, one of the three cards that really represent God, and it's clearly talking about here a situation. Look, he can release himself, but he's not, because he is subjecting himself to some situation because he wants to see things from a different perspective, and he wants other people to understand that he's seeing that. So it is a necessary suffering of some kind of like kind. Even though if you really look at that in particular deck, these chains are actually broken over here, right? And he is kind of like falling down, which means kind of like a free fall. It means things have to kind of land where they land. You know, we have this expression, let the chip fall and see what happens. It almost looks like somebody is looking at you, that you feel being observed, that you feel almost being judged, that you feel that kind of like you're doing your things. It's kind of really interesting because I'm seeing these two cards linked, and I'm seeing this card completely almost like not connected. Like, because Knight of Cups is a love attitude. There is like some love in the situation, but it's almost like as if it is somewhere, but it's not in between the two people. I mean, it could be each of these two people feeling love, but for some reason that connection, like, right, so they're like almost like parallel instead of like integrating. That is really happening. So I want to clarify this Knight of Cups over here. So, and look at this, what I have, and I have a whole bunch of things happening here. Oh, death, doctor, waiting, child, merchant. The merchant is jumping, and money reversed. The doctor can also mean a lawyer, and I don't know, like, are some of you thinking about, some of you are thinking about the family situation, some of you are thinking about release of connection of some kind of like sort, some of you are waiting for something to happen, but it's not happening, right? So we see that waiting in both of these cards. Look at it, they're waiting and waiting and waiting, and things are really not happening. And that's the Hanging Man whole thing. I think it's that impatience that usually is very visible in Aries and Sagittarians, right? It kind of like, okay, I'm sacrificing myself, I'm over, kind of a thing, right? So usually when I see sacrifice, I always think about the third party, because the only way, I am not one of those people, I cannot forgive the third party. I'm sorry. It's just like, I know it's kind of foolish, it's kind of like a human construction, but some people are able to, and the only way that you can get over it is like being fully transparent. Yes, this is what I'm doing, that's where I'm going, because this is giving that person such trauma that they have to almost like rebuild themselves brick by brick. And if somebody's kind of pushing those bricks and not allowing them to solidify it, they're not able to pull themselves together. It almost looks like that this is like maybe working toward that point, and it is going in so different aspects. It's maybe affecting, maybe you have a child with this person, and you're doing these things. Maybe otherwise you wouldn't do it. You're doing that because of the child, right? Maybe the doctor literally means doctor. That somebody needs help. Or maybe there was like almost a loss of somebody. This actually, in this particular combination, can really mean losing somebody, or somebody having a terminal disease over here. But there are still secrets in the situation, and as I said, that kind of like really tells me it's a third party, and there's like some kind of like gap over here that needs to be overcome. Maybe counseling, maybe, you know, talking, maybe being transparent, but there is like still an obstacle that needs to be overcome over here. So we are going to find out what that is over here. Kylie, sorry. I'm just reading what I see. I mean, I know some of you are my clients as well. I kind of know what you are going through, but rest assured that when I focus, I just focus on the general thing, and you're probably sending me your spirit guides to give your messages as well. So that's why it's always good to be present on live. So let's see your blue moon, full moon message. Your blue moon, full moon message. Oh my gosh, you're getting acceptance. So how is this possible from all these cards that I'm getting the same thing? So I don't know which sign it was. I was explaining that in this particular, like, I mean, card, I'm seeing things differently. Cherry pit. There's like somebody feeling, I don't like this. I don't like what's going on. This is bothering me. And when we have like this, you know, this sixth sense, this kind of like gnawing feeling in our tummy, then we know something is not good, right? Something is going on that is not going to end well, right? So there's like this whole process over here going on. So this is a card talking about somebody eroding our confidence. This is a card talking about maybe you start feeling lesser of ourselves. We are not seeing the unique qualities that we have. Maybe you have been waiting for somebody, and like this is even getting worse. You're saying like, why did I do that? Why am I wasting my life? Kind of a thing, right? So it is the base chakra. It is really saying, look guys, no matter what it is, right now you need to pay this attention to yourself, and you need to kind of like really work on yourself, right? So sometimes this card also talks about innocence and maybe inability to see your own gifts, maybe inability to see that you could have done things all along the way differently, right? So really this is talking about that you have protection of spirit guides, and that you need to increase your self-esteem and confidence. And if you guys need help, I do this like energy sessions. They're really working on this like very subtle layers and penetrate your very core. So they are really rebuilding that fabric of who you are. It's sometimes you can do it on your own, but getting a little kind of help always helps, right? So Sagittarians, big things ahead of you. Capricorns. Do we have Capricorns here? Andy, I think you're Capricorn. Okay, a sip of a coffee. Let's see the messages. Oh, Marianne, I didn't see you in a while. I'm just all alone, being single, healing from toxic evil. Sagittarius. You know what? I always, when I read your messages, I laugh, and I shouldn't be laughing because, you know, I totally know what you're going through, because I've been through things like that as well, and I know when we are through it, we are so angry. But I do like the fact that you're angry, because anger and pain is the same emotion. But anger is way more positive because it means it's coming out, right? And finally it comes out, and you start to laugh. And you start laughing at yourself and say, oh my God, like, I am paying attention to you. Like, you kind of like shake your head and you go like, you know what, you don't deserve me, and I'm not going to even think about you, right? If I remember, you are an air sign. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so Capricorns. Oh my gosh, the weather is changing to rain. That's probably good. Have to drive down there. Somebody kind of like also hit my bumper yesterday, so oh my God, what a day. I had it in one day. I will have a Capricorn stand. Okay, let's see. Messages for Capricorn for this week. Whoa, you have everything. You have King of Cups reversed, but then you have Ace of Cups and Four of Pentacles. King of Cups reversed, I really don't like. Why? Because this person is going to look like the perfect man or a perfect woman. And the perfect man and perfect woman is going to say the perfect thing at the perfect time. And we do not have red flags to really realize that. For example, the person might be just freshly separated from someone, and they need to prove something to themselves, and they're going to go out and look for a new mate. And they'll be willing to wrap themselves around this person and say whatever is needed just to win their affection. But the truth is, they're not able to feel because they have lots of pain in themselves. They're literally just using you as a blanket and as a shield. And that vulnerability is sometimes interpreted as love. And we go and help these people, and next thing you know, they are drawing you down. And that's what King of Cups does. They forget to tell you pertinent information, which is extremely important. Because I can see here something developing. Interestingly enough, we have all these moon phases over here. And Ace of Cups is like that new beginning, a new start, where you are kind of blocking all of a sudden. Like, you will, on some level, really realize, and your pragmatic nature is going to kick in. You're going to say, there is like something wrong, which my hat is off to you. When usually people like King of Cups, that's why I don't like it, drags you down. They drag you down on the bottom of Mariana Trench, and it's really hard to get oxygen and survive the situation. It's like pretty much like Marianne is explaining over here. And Four of Pentacles is telling me that your brain is going to kick in and going to say, wait a minute, something is off here, and let me watch myself. Because look at him, he's holding everything to his chest and saying, I better watch myself. Let me grab a few things over here. Okay, see, divorcing that BS. So that's good, because they might be trying then in that situation to come back, and it will be, I don't think so, kind of a thing, right? So let's see over here what I can get a little bit more on this to clarify this. Well, we have 3 reversed. We have despair, we have house, and we have a child. So yeah, that can talk about divorce. That can talk about somebody disturbing your sense of who you are, right? Because there's an earth sign to you, children, and this longevity and your genes are really, really important. And somebody really messed with that. Somebody, this looks like it was a really betrayal over here. And you are guys in a mode, hey, you know, leave me alone, leave me F alone. I need to be on my own. I need to take care of me. And the baby reversed means technically I don't want to revisit the past anymore. I guess there's like still hints here and there that you feel are coming through the cracks, this nostalgia, and looks like you're killing that. So it's very clear to me what kind of like full moon messages you're going to get, but let's see the cards speak. They don't forget to tell you things. They knowingly don't tell you. Yes, that's a lying by omission. Well, that's what I mean, right? So, hey, I'm married. Oh, I forgot to tell you this, right? I forgot to tell you this like 6 months, every day in a row. That's hello. And like, I mean, I really take that against this complacency. You see, it's also repositioning yourself. So as I said, you're going into cocoon. You're going into kind of like this level, look, you know what? Everything around me possibly is some kind of like destruction, as you can see here, right? Maybe you're feeling your dreams are lost. Maybe you feel I have been building and building and contributing, and look where this is happening. But as I told you, cards are not necessarily predicting. This card is in particular not predicting doom and gloom kind of a thing. This is actually talking about that you have been or are coasting in a situation that you really don't want. And this is a warning not to give up, not to give up on your dreams, not to give up where you want to go. You maybe need to redefine certain things, need to find where is that spark, what was unrealized, what is that you left behind kind of a thing. Because maybe in the present time you're having lack of motivation, maybe you're holding back, but this is telling me like you guys need to be daring. That's the full moon thing. You need to release this complacency. You need to release, oh my gosh, I just cannot do anything, and poor me, right? Whenever we fall ourselves into that, it kind of like, it feels good that people say, oh, you poor you, but it feels even better when you live life nicely, because they say good life is the best revenge, right? Living well is the best revenge. You guys are going to do well. I'm just telling you this right now. Oh boy, I'm a little bit afraid doing my thing, and so I'm going to focus just on Aquarians, not so much on me, because I'm a little bit, maybe I should do my own private reading later, because this week is going to be very intense for me with my dad. Last 2 weeks were predictor of this, so so let's see, let's take cat out of this, because it will be really, really strong. Let's just have other Aquarians, and I'm going to do my own Aquarians, 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 Aquarians. You see, Marianne, I would not suggest that we make proclamations. I'm staying single for the rest of my life. Because, you know, so they say beware what you wish for, because that's sort of like you are playing with karma. Why don't you say, I'm currently enjoying myself where I am. I'm currently enjoying what kind of choices I make, and I choose to trust myself. And that's all we need to do in order to create positive karma. Okay, so Aquarians. Aquarians, please give me messages for Aquarians for this particular week. And we got a bundle. We got the Lovers. And then we got 6 of Pentacles, Five of Swords, Justice, and Ten of Cups. Holy moly. Aquarians, this is usually belonging to Gemini. This is usually belonging to Libra. So this whole air is really, really represented over here, right? So the Lover's card, generally in the other decks, is a choice. But here it is, the choice has been made in this particular one. Look, he is putting her on the pedestal. Did you guys know that they predict if the species are going to be faithful according to the height difference? The closer they are in the height difference, the less cheating the species will be, right? So some of them are mating for life, like pigeons that are almost identical, and humans are sort of falling in that category, even though by looking what's going on right now, you wouldn't guess that, right? So here in this particular reading, Aquarians, we have two sixes. It could be appearance of a soulmate. It could be also resolution of some kind of situation, because Five of Swords, I generally don't like this card, but in this reading it does have a positive meaning, and I'll explain. This is usually win or lose card. This is usually the card, look at this, everybody's dead and he's like, yeah, I killed him. It's kind of like really weirdo, right? And it's psychopathic kind of thing, but nonetheless there is the winning over here. And maybe you really need to resort to brutality. Maybe ruthlessness is in order. This kind of can apply to me. It would be like, I really have to tell off all this hospital personnel once for all. If they want to demonize me, let me show you demon, kind of a thing. But this was really actually away from me. And then we have 6 and 5 here, 11, and we have another 11 here. There will be lots of universal messages. So it's going to be finally peace. Finally peace. Because the Justice card, when she comes upright, it's like, whew, yes and yes and yes, right? Because it means things are falling in balance. 6 of Pentacles, we are able to kind of like create something, to give something. We are able to share. Maybe going to be a few different options. Maybe we will need to kind of like give something to get something. Maybe we'll need to fight for to get something, because that's why the Five of Swords says. Maybe we will need to be a little bit brutal in that fight. But as an air sign, and this is like really enforcing it over here, that we will be full air this particular week, and we have to act in full air to represent and defend something. And then doing that is going to really help. This Ten of Cups to that fulfillment, and it's kind of like release, and it's success in the situation. So hello, Nova Scotia. That's amazing. My dad's family is from Nova Scotia, from Louisburg. So let's see the full moon messages for Aquarians. Oh my gosh, I had a whole bunch of the cards, but I'm seeing just I'll kind of choose the first and last. And these cards are perfection and prayer. Perfection means to me, and I have been a perfectionist all my life. I even use this line. I was using this line when I was going for job interviews. Oh, can you please tell us what is your weakness? And I would say, well, I'm a perfectionist, because honestly, as a marketing person, I always had this rehearsed. Because the truth was, I was a perfectionist, and that was not a good thing. Even though I would always present it, well, I always want things to be done properly. The truth is that I always wanted to be done things properly in a way that I would spend forever time to make it perfect, and that would even irritate other people, right? So these high standards that I had for myself were irritating sometimes other people, because they would not be able to go in that level of quality, and they would maybe resent somebody insisting on that, right? So this is really telling me that Aquarians are that they are maybe being hard on themselves, and and this is not the time to tell others kind of like what to do. So sort of like what is right and what is wrong, right? So be careful not to alienate others, even though it looks like it's going to be head-on fight in this particular thing. But this is talking about uniqueness, and which sign is really thriving on uniqueness and on friendship. It's our sign. So this perfection is right now, I would say, challenge for us for this blue moon is to accept imperfection, to accept, hey, we are really not perfect, but you know what? This is exactly who we are, and this is what is actually the most beautiful about us. So positioning it a little bit differently, I think, is going to almost like give us a break and release. We discard here prayer. I always see this like meadow and the countryside, and then see the city here, right? We see these two possibilities, and we see the lemons and lemonade, right? So it's always that saying, when life gives you lemon, like, you know, make a lemonade. Maybe something is a bad situation, but make it good. Make the best you can out of the situation, right? So maybe like it was a plan, maybe it was a kind of sidetracking us from the plan, but here this is really talking about prayers unanswered, right? Following the steps, following where life leads, being of service. It's again about that authenticity, right? Make something out of it. You have this ability to kind of create that, right? It almost looks like if we for some reason went in the wrong direction, that we are going to be back on the path, and we are the only ones so far that got 2 cards for what we need to kind of release. We need to release some kind of like hold or strictness and kind of like being rigid. It's really kind of like more important to, hey, you know, give this wish to God, to universe, and let that universe work it for you. So yay. So let's go. Pisces. Oh my gosh, today I'm really going in a detail. Didn't even realize how much I talk. You poor people. One guy sent me an email. He said, and you know, it's one of those silly emails. He said, oh, you know, it's amazing how long you can talk, and it's such a sweet voice. I was like really giggling because it's the most ridiculous things to say. And if you ask my ex-husband about the same situation, he will go, oh my gosh, you can talk forever, in a completely different tone of voice. All right, Pisces. You're feeling well or you're not feeling well, Barbie. Either way, it's good to have you. It's good to have your energy. No issues. Let's see, Pisces, you have penultimate, Pisces. Ooh, 2 of Cups. Should I not just have another card and just say soulmate on the horizon? Oh my gosh, Pisces, you can really use it. And I don't know, actually, I just realized I had a dream about Pisces, and I'm just trying to recall what it was. Oh my gosh, you have the Magician, and this one wanted to come out, and you have 3 of Pentacles. Pisces, it is all good. And this is all adding to the energy of 6, which is a loving and calm and homey energy. It's a soulmate. You make sure you're looking for someone if you want to find someone. Make sure you're your best. You know what they say? You met the man of your dreams and then you met his wonderful wife, right? No, so you make sure you're at your best, that you meet somebody, you kind of look good, you're presenting yourself well. This is a week to go and be seen and heard. So contact people. If you're not dating, if you are already dating with someone and being with someone, then you know what? It is a time to address stuff, because the Magician says you actually have everything you need, absolutely everything, and other people will be willing to collaborate. 3 of Pentacles is that lovely, lovely card, and I love this card because it really talks on a subtle level how, you know, we sometimes want something from the other people, like for example raise, but we are like really afraid of asking for it. And by the way, this can mean raise, and this can mean a better job, this can mean getting a job as well. And we have that nervousness, and in the end we ask in a wrong way and we are rejected, or somebody is using the company line and just like tell us off. But this is saying they are creating something to come our way. They are, like, I mean, they might not meet us 100%, but it's going to be a very positive outcome out of this, right? So this is really, really good. Oh, sorry, Barbie, that you are not feeling well. Same thing here. I have some freaking cold and coughing and temperature. Ugh. It will be perfect to sleep, but I have to drive down and get my dad clean clothes, his chips and Coke and stuff like that. Okay, so let's see. Keep flicking. Okay, the card that came through is called Facade. This is really interesting card. First of all, it's really talking about confidence, right? It is like falling into this solar plexus chakra. But we have here kind of like two figures almost like walking on the clouds, right? So this can actually talk about maybe you having issues of being unhappy in your relationships. Maybe you are staying in a relationship where you're linking to that relationship through a sense of duty, right? Well, I'm married, I'm staying there for the kids, or I am staying here because you are sick, right? You need to redefine that. You're still able to care for someone. I'm still caring for my dad, even though at this stage I resent things he does. And it's kind of separating disease from, you know, who he really is, because he is no longer present. He has died, even though he is still breathing. And that's kind of like something that possibly is coming here as a message to you, that you need to reclaim your life. There is like some childhood pain that I'm seeing over here, because the Magician is that magnificent creation over here. It's about healing, it's about reintegration, it's about recovery, it's about play. So it is that release of things. You guys maybe need to face your fears. So during this full moon tonight, just maybe write a list of all the things that you're releasing, and you burn the list. And you need to burn it. Don't take a picture of it, because it means saving it. Just go out, burn it, release it, off you go, right? And you are going to feel that sense of release, and all of a sudden you will start feeling, oh, okay, great, I'm able to rebuild myself, I'm going in this new direction. And this kind of like is going to feel completely different for you. It's going to feel authentic. It's going to feel that you're guided by God, because this is quote unquote called bronze god card over here, right? It's like that inner child carrying you through it. So no matter how old you are, you're going to feel, oh my gosh, you know, there are like still things that I'm carrying on, and I have all these burdens, like, I mean, they put these layers on him that I have accumulated over the years. How nice would it be that, you know, I don't tell myself these stories. I'm too short, I'm too high, too tall, I am too fat, I'm too skinny. You know, it's always a problem, right? So it's almost like refocus, redefine, and accept and release, because you guys are going to have some wonderful things happening if and when you do that. So good for you. And then we are coming to the very last one, which is Aries. And after the ad, I'm going to do this yes or no. That I don't know who suggested that before, but I'm doing that. So it's a reward for those of you who stayed around on this long weekend. So Aries, and the next week Taurus will be the last. Aries. Oh my gosh, healing would be so nice. You know, having pets is such God's sent healing. Just spending time around them, not around them, but looking at them, like I call it animal watch. It is like more distressing than any kind of like tranquilizer can give it to you. It is just amazing how they have the poise and grace and that innocence that always resonates, right? So Aries, whoa, Wheel of Fortune. It's a karma card. We didn't have karma. No, we did have a justice, and that justice was, what, for Aquarians? It was like one karma card, and now I see another one. We have Wheel of Fortune, and then we have Eight of Swords. So what's going on? You guys are going to get yourself in some kind of trouble, and Seven of Swords. So looks like you're going through a kind of like a lucky kind of like phase. Wheel of Fortune to me, first of all, not to me, it's simply karma card, and something is happening universally where no matter what they say, it's going to happen, right? But then it's followed with this Eight of Swords, Seven of Swords, which kind of talks about some kind of a possible difficulties regarding relationships, possible difficulty about some investment that is happening, and feeling like stuck in a situation. Maybe you know, you put some money that is losing, and now you cannot pull it out, and you cannot prevent it of kind of like having, like, you know, a bigger loss of something of a sort, right? So, but I think this is happening for a reason, because it is preceded with this card, right? It is preceded with oh my goodness, you know, how is this all being positioned over here? And this is done for a reason. You are supposed to not surge forward, which is kind of like very characteristics of your sign, because by surging forward, maybe you're not going to see certain elements over here, or what basically is happening. And this is why you're going to feel constrained, and you're going to hate it. You're going to feel like, oh my freaking god, I'm feeling I'm sitting on the ant kind of like house, right? But this is done for a reason, because you are being protected, and you're going to be protected in a really, really good way over here. So yes, Andy, do not make a copy of your list because you're holding on to it. It's beginner's mistake. So see, scholar, and it's reverse. Like, do not over analyze things. Just, you feel constrained, there is a reason for feeling constrained. Somebody took something away from you. Things might get resolved on their own, so do not mess it up. There could be other people. That's it. There are other people who are dealing with that. You will get nowhere with pushing things forward, absolutely nowhere, because other people would just simply create almost like, looks like you would surge, and they would identify you as the problem instead of problem resolving itself. So you need to kind of go under the radar this particular time period, and luck is on your side. So how is that? You know, sometimes you don't do nothing and the situation resolves itself. This is one of those weeks for you guys, so enjoy it. So yes, we are trying to keep happy energy over here. That's why I have like these really nice moderators. And if somebody is not Andy, I'm going to make you a moderator because you're here so often. And what's going to happen is like they just like zap anybody who kind of like is not in a good spirit or a troll. So that's really how it works. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to pick just the first card, and of course you got gratitude. And that's pretty much what I'm saying. You guys, you know, you really remind me of my puppy in this particular reading. It's, oh my god, let's go for a walkie walk, right? But this is really saying just stop. Just enjoy where you are. Enjoy this like now moment, you know, like this whole movement of the now with the power of now. This is kind of like clearly coming out over here. This gratitude card is like so absolutely lovely. I mean, this is falling in the third eye chakra, so it's not falling in the heart chakra, so to say, oh, you know, the soulmate is coming. Maybe this, you're dealing with a soulmate. Maybe you're not knowing where you are. Maybe you feel betrayed by this person, and your initial reaction will be, that's not going to happen, off you go, get lost, blah blah blah, right? So it's telling you to not do that, because there is an explanation which is not horrible, which is not something that is going to really bother you that way, because you're going to find out that you're really glad that somebody is in your life. There's like something that is giving appearances. It's a full moon, remember, there are lots of appearances over here, and your vibration is being raised on a much higher level for you to see it. So just think about that from the first floor, that the elevator is gliding outside of the building. On the first floor, you don't see the same thing that you see from the top floor. So you are being elevated, right? So this is talking about a friendship, and it's talking about deep love and unconditional love toward others. So maybe try to approach it from that aspect, that you don't have this God of War kind of like button pushed anymore, that instead it's kind of like appreciation. So for example, if somebody is dumping you, and I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying that you might feel kind of like slighted, then you say, it's too bad that happened, but you know what, I thank you for being in my life, because there were things that you brought to me. It reminds me, I don't know, today ours have movie references. Notting Hill was the movie when Julia Roberts is coming to Hugh Grant in this little library, and she's saying, well, she's pretending as if, nothing happened, and this whole kind of like innuendo that happened prior to it. And he's saying, no, you know what? I'm just, not ready for this because you are big city girl, and I'm just really nobody. And he's kind of like closing in his own world because he need to process things differently. And then in the end, of course, spoiler alert, she comes, just some little girl who just wants a little boy to love her. So it's one of those famous lines. So watch the movie. It's really good movie to watch. Oh, I'm not supposed to take this out. Oh, I did have the gratitude. So we are going to do the 3-card thingy, right? We're going to do the wish. So you guys place a question, have a question ready, and I'm going to draw 2 cards, door number 1, door number 2, number 3. I'm going to draw them off the table, so you're not going to see them, and I'm going to give you answers. Okay, you guys think about your question. So let me see, because sometimes cards jump and then they open up and then they kind of give the answers. So this is card door number 1. Oops, and I had a whole bunch of cards. Door number 2, but also I have to admit this also jumped out with it. And then door number 3. Okay, if you pick door number 1, the answer is Knight of Cups reversed. This most likely was an emotional question that for some reason has a charge or a wish buried inside. The answer is neither yes nor no. It is simply saying the time is not right to even ask this question. There are like some circumstances that might change in order to redefine this question. So let's go with that. Maybe you guys want to, as you had this question, ask redefine question and pick 2 or 3, or just simply just be satisfied with the answer and just like re-ask the next week. So door number 2, we have 7 of Pentacles, and we also have Page of Cups, the Empress, King of Pentacles, and 4 of Wands. Wow. This clearly was about you needing to feel powerful in some kind of relationship. You maybe have asked if something is going to move forward, and the answer is clearly yes. And it's not only going to move forward, it's going to move forward 100%, and maybe all the way to the next stage, whatever the next stage is. If you're just eyeing somebody, they might ask you out for a date, or you might ask them, or something like that is going to happen. If you are a female, you're going to feel placed on a pedestal, going to feel very attractive, and going to feel really being praised for everything that you kind of like think the best of yourself. So this is going to be a highly positive yes, where maybe it can be also with some person with whom certain things need to be redefined, and now it's easier to kind of like see that. And then door number 3, we have Queen of Cups reversed. It's very similar to this Knight of Cups. It's a court card, so hence there is no yes or no, because this is really telling me it's going to be highly emotional attitude, and this is a full moon we are going through, and emotions are triggered. As I told you, go back to the beginning of this reading. I gave you the introduction about a full moon. You cannot fight water. Water is going to find a way around. So hence there is no time. So if you ask this question, this kind of took you over here, it's clearly telling you do not think about it for a week. Just put it on the back shelf. Let's kind of like wait for it for the next week, or get a reading with Kat or something like that. So hopefully guys this really helped, and thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for your donations. It always helps, and please order the readings from me. I really need to work a lot to be able to go through all of this situation, and at the same time please be patient with my readings, because I just don't want to kind of manufacture them and send it to you. I always look for time that I'm really clear, like I am now, to be able to give you all these messages. Otherwise I think I'm failing if I don't do that. So thank you very much. Welcome to everybody new. I really am grateful for spending the Saturday with you. It's so lovely. And until the next week, all my wishes and kisses. And if you guys have a long weekend, have a wonderful, wonderful long weekend. And until the next time, I'm just going to give you a quick music part and I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you soon. Bye.